YouTuber Jake Paul fighting three-time NBA slam dunk champion Nate Robinson.
If you told my 10-year-old self I'd be fighting on a Mike Tyson card, I'd be like, no way. I'm going to take his head off.
Really?
No.
And definitely left.
Thank you.
Hey, Robinson.
Yeah.
Let's go, Nate. Hey, Nate finna beat this boy ass, and I'm finna enjoy every moment of it.
Hey, Nate, what's up, bro? You want to come train with us, bro? Good job, Nate.
Shut up, bitch.
I just want to prove that, I'm the greatest athlete, one of the greatest athletes to ever walk this earth.
Bitch, I'm a fucking champion.
Everyone thought that Nate Robinson was going to beat me. I was the most betted against person that night. All these people, they didn't think I'm a real fighter. And so that's the beauty of it, is when a bunch of people think you're going to lose and like proving them wrong.
Nate Robinson is a former teammate of yours. He tweeted out, "I'm gonna shock the world." And then after his knockout, you responded to that tweet and you're like, "Yeah, I see no lies, man."
Yeah. Boxing was pretty much a dying sport. 25 million views, boxing's going back.
I know my ability. I'm just going to prove it to the world. Welcome to the show.
Bitch, I'm a fucking champion.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Al Bernstein, and welcome to what is going to explain to you one of the terrific events coming up on April 17th, Triller Fight Club, its inaugural event. We welcome the folks that are here among the press, and welcome to all of you watching around the world. We're happy that you've joined us. On April 17th, it will be an event that will merge music and boxing in a unique way. There will be music superstars on hand, as well as some fun boxing matches. And what it will create is an evening of high energy entertainment, which we are really looking forward to. And today we're going to introduce to you a number of the participants, as well as some folks that are responsible for bringing you this event. Now, I want to remind everyone that a way to watch and follow the fighters is to go to trillerfightclub.com, where you can see all the information and features about the fight. And you can order the event through your cable, satellite, and telco providers. And of course, online, you can get it on Fight, which is the premier digital pay-per-view platform for boxing and combat sports. The best way to start this out is to show you the card that we were going to have on April 17th. So let's take a peek at it right now. In the main event, of course, YouTube personality turned boxer, the irrepressible Jake Paul, in his third boxing event, taking on Ben Askren, the former MMA champion. And that should be an intriguing battle. Then in the co-main event, former 140-pound champ Regis Prograis taking on Ivan Redkach, who has been a contender in several weight classes. And former cruiserweight champion Steve Cunningham will be taking on Big Frank Mir, the former UFC heavyweight champion. And in a unique match, Joe Fournier, who is a former fitness guru and had a pro boxing career, taking on Andre Felipe Robledo Lodano, otherwise known as Reykon. He is a Reggae Nation performer from Colombia who is wildly popular and has a worldwide following. So that one should be a unique event. This is a varied and interesting card. And one of the things that makes it interesting is in many cases, we don't know exactly how all these boxers are going to respond once they get in front of the bright lights and once we see them actually in action. Now, the main event, which we've already mentioned, of course, is Jake Paul against Ben Askren. Jake questions Ben Askren's boxing ability, and Ben questions the toughness of Jake Paul. So between the two of them, they have had a lot to say, and it's been very, very interesting to build up to this fight. And today, we're going to hear from both of them as well. Let's talk about our first fight, and that is the fight with Joe Fournier from London. who, as I mentioned, is a fitness guru. He's a basketball player. He owned a nightclub. He actually had a pro boxing career in which he was 8-0 and was a pro boxer and did a terrific job in that respect, was as high as number 11 in the world. And then Reykon, who, as I said, is the leading practitioner of Reggae Nation music. He is a superstar from Colombia, and he is somebody that is new to boxing for sure, and somebody that we're anxious to see how well he functions in the ring. So that one is certainly an interesting matchup. And you know, we're going to have a big night of boxing for you. We're going to have that plus the music. Later on, we're going to detail all the music acts that you're going to get a chance to see. And we're excited about it. It's a unique event that merges, as I said, both boxing and entertainment. Now, I think we're ready to bring on our first two participants. So let's bring to the stage Joe Fournier and Reykon. Gentlemen, come on out. Hi, Joe. How are you? Good to see you. Well, welcome to both of you for being here. And I'm going to start out. We're going to have questions from the press that are assembled here. And we're also going to have some questions remotely sent to us as well. But I'm going to start by asking a couple of questions. And Joe, I'm going to start with you. So in previous interviews, I've seen you tell the story about how this fight happened, which is fascinating to say the least. Share the details of that with our audience.
Well, Reykon over there was being a bit of a cock blocker, as they say in England, and and I was talking to a lady in the restaurant, and he got a little jealous. So that's how we're here today.
Yeah, you were actually, you know, in a restaurant, in a bar where this all kind of came to a head, didn't you?
Absolutely, I was there minding my own business, and a girl kept walking past, smiling. I've been single for a long time. So on the way to the bathroom, I swinged over and said hello. And then I felt someone like shove me in the back. And obviously being a fighter, I wasn't going to back down. And he was with 20 of his cronies. And here we are today. Fair play to him. He signed the contract.
He took your challenge for sure. Now, you've mentioned that the interesting thing about this is, of course, you were a pro boxer and you have a lot of experience. You don't know what to expect from him because there is no history, right?
Well, ultimately, he's either really brave or really stupid. I haven't quite figured it out. But regardless, I'm training for it like it's a real fight. I'm training for it like he is a champion. And yeah, I'm not trying to get paid overtime by making it last too long, put it that way.
Yeah. Well, we're going to see how it all turns out. I'm going to turn to Reykon. And by the way, Marcos Villegas, who is a fine boxing broadcaster and journalist, is going to interpret for us. He's going to handle those responsibilities. And Marcos, maybe you can ask Reykon, what was his reason for taking this fight? Why?
Reykon, ¿cuál era tu razón para tomar esta pelea?
¿Pero la pelea en ese momento
Sí,
o el problema que hubo? El problema.
El problema, sí.
No, él sabe, faltó al respeto. Simplemente eso, él faltó al respeto y donde yo esté no se falta al respeto.
No, he knows why. He knows why I'm taking this fight. It was a lack of respect, total lack of respect on his part.
Has he boxed before?
¿Has boxeado? ¿Tienes experiencia boxeando?
No. In the street, you know?
How long did he have to prepare for this fight? Because he's only known about it, I think, less than a month, right?
Tú has sabido de esta pelea, creo un mes has tenido, que sabes, pero ¿qué tanto tiempo has tenido para prepararte para boxear contra él?
Yo estoy preparado mentalmente siempre. Físicamente llevo 20 días preparándome para la pelea, pero yo siempre estoy preparado.
You know, mentally, Al, I'm always ready. I'm ready all the time mentally. Physically, I've only had about 20 days, but mentally, I'm all there.
All right, so it's going to be quite quite a brawl it could be. Now, we've got the folks here, the press members that are going to ask some questions. So let's get to that. Our first gentleman, could you identify yourself and give us your question?
Yeah, my name is John Morgan. I want to start with Joe. You've got a boxing background. I mean, you stepped away from the sport a little bit. You explained kind of why you're getting back in, but were you considering a return to fighting at all before this incident took place?
Well, I actually signed with MTK Global, one of the biggest boxing management companies, probably about 2 months ago. So I had every intention of coming back. I started training again. So this has kind of been a real godsend from Triller to ask me to be on the show. Obviously, everyone knows I don't do this for the money. I do it kind of more for the life experience and the mental health side. So from this aspect, yeah, I had every intention of coming back. But when you get a phone call from Triller, it's like, you know, winning the golden ticket.
Yeah. The matchup is interesting, though, right? I mean, the personal beef there makes it, you know, interesting. But I do wonder, I mean, do you feel like you're kind of putting your reputation on the line? As you said, you got a guy that's never fought before. If you don't go in there and mop up the floor with them, right, like it's kind of a failure on your side.
Well, ultimately, I'm in a no-win situation, except for my ego to be kind of massaged slightly. So essentially, I knock him out in 90 seconds. I look like a bully. And if I kind of lose or it goes to points, I look terrible. So like I said, I'm going to do the first and just get rid of him quickly.
I don't know. I would ask Reykon if he does he share that same Genesis story? Did he feel like he was being a cock blocker, as was said, and kind of a punk in the club at all?
Pues hablando sobre cómo pasó todo eso, ¿tú crees que él era un falto de respeto cuando el incidente pasó en el antro?
Sí, claro, of course, pero ahora él tiene que ganarse el respeto porque ahora él tiene que ganar esa pelea, la tiene que ganar. Porque yo vine a su mundo, ¿me entiendes? Ahora él tiene que ganárselo porque lo perdió en esa discoteca. Allí perdió el respeto.
No, totally. And that he has to come in now and win the respect because I'm coming into his world now. He has to win this fight or he's going to get no respect.
I was going to say, the last thing, I mean, do you find this kind of a no-lose situation? I mean, even if you do lose the fight, he's got much more experience. So if you just go in there and make a good showing, maybe people will have respect for you.
¿Tú crees que entrando a esta pelea que no puedes perder? Porque tú no eres boxeador, estás entrando, él sí es boxeador, él tiene experiencia entrando a esta pelea. Si pierdas, no pierdas nada.
Yo creo que desde que asumí su reto, yo ya gané. Él tiene que ganar porque él es boxeador. Porque si yo le digo a él, vamos a hacer una canción, nunca va a ir. No tiene ni idea de eso, ni con autotune. You know,
he has to win. He's a boxer. If I were to bring him into my world and tell him, hey, let's do a song, he'd be clueless. He wouldn't know what to do. He wouldn't survive in that world.
I just want to say I'm the songbird of my generation.
You can.
Él dice que él puede cantar.
No, ni con autotune.
He said, you can't even sing with autotune, man.
Hey, it's getting personal up here, I think. Let's go out for another question. I know that's Kevin Ioli. Kevin, how are you?
I'm good, Al. Thank you. My question would be for Reykon. Reykon, on the first Triller Fight Club card, NBA player Nate Robinson fought. He was not only a star in the NBA, but he was a great all-around athlete. And he didn't last a full round. And I wonder, when you look at it, how do you think you'll be able to do any better than he did, given the fact that you're fighting a guy that has a pro background and also has been training?
Reykon, te quiero preguntar, en la otra pelea que tuvo Jake Paul, peleó contra Nate Robinson, que tenía ninguna experiencia de boxeador, entró y le noquearon. Él quiere saber cómo tú puedes ser mejor que eso, si puedes ser mejor que eso y qué va a pasar porque tú no tienes experiencia boxeando.
Pero tengo experiencia de vida y yo voy a sobrevivir, la voy a saber llevar. Yo más que prepararme para ganarle o yo noquearlo a él, yo estoy preparándome para aguantarle lo que él, vivir en su mundo y mostrarle que su mundo, ¿me entiendes? Puede pasar que un golpe me noquee, o también puede pasar al revés, un golpe puede llegar de cualquiera de los dos lados. Yo preparado mentalmente para la situación de asumir su reto. Para eso fue que me preparé, más que físicamente por si le gano o no le gano. Yo ya le gané, ¿me entiendes? Por lo mismo, él no va a estar en mi mundo, yo entré a su mundo.
You know, I've been training to survive. I'm going in there and, you know, it's a fight. I can go in there and I've been training to take the fight to him, to knock him out. You know, obviously it's a fight. He can come in and knock me out, but I can also go ahead and do the same to him. I can end up knocking him out. You know, I'm entering his world. I've already won. You know, he can't do what I've done before. You know, I'm coming into this fight mentally prepared. I have life experience and I'm using that to carry me into this fight.
And question for Joe, I guess 2 questions for you, Joe. Number one, do you feel like when you look at this, you know, Nate Robinson did not look very good in his fight, and I know he tried, but, you know, did not go very well. Do you think that there are any celebrities or non-boxers that could come into a boxing match and actually put on a decent performance? And then the second part is, what do you think the way Triller is doing these fights with the big name musical acts and how well they're produced, what do you think that is going to do for traditional boxing? Do you think it'll have an impact and create new fans for boxing, which kind of needs new and younger fans?
Well, first and foremost, you know, I'm a businessman, and I think what Triller are doing is exceptional. They've come into the industry, and what I can kind of compare them to is the Uber to the old cab driver. You know, they're taking it to a digital level. They're creating entertainment, which ultimately that's what boxing was about. So for me, I think the kind of this matchup alone is interesting and intriguing enough. I still think he's crazy. I still think everything he said's ridiculous. I'm going to knock him out in under a minute. But let's just pretend for a second. You've got a world-class reggaeton artist fighting a number 10 WBA, by the way, Al, international champion. And it's interesting. People want to see it, and it's exciting. I think the only person really that's shown from the entertainment world or the kind of YouTube world that they can kind of fight a little bit is Jake. I've made no secret that's the fight I want next. So I'm sure we'll be watching this. But, you know, it just goes to show if someone gets their head down, trains hard, gets a good coach, anything can happen. So I'm welcoming him trying to come and knock me out because it's going to make for more fireworks.
Te dice que te va a noquear en un minuto.
It's okay. Hazlo.
He said, try to do it. Try to knock me out in a minute.
All right.
As long as I still get to visit Colombia after and not get kidnapped.
Dice que si te noquea, si va a Colombia, que no le secuestran.
Está equivocado de los colombianos, pero ahora por su comentario, tal vez.
He said, you know, you're very confused about Colombia, but now because of your comment, maybe.
All right, we'll see how it plays out. We can see there's some conflict here. We have a remote question, do we not? Let's go to that now.
Our first remote question is from Norte MMA Ecuador, Pablo Santamaria.
Ok, yo quiero preguntar a Reykon, cuando te llegó la oferta de la pelea, ¿cuál fue tu reacción?
Yo no quería que fuera a tanto. Desde el otro día que yo me entero quién era él, a mí me decían, tú sabes a quién enfrentaste. Y yo le decía a la gente, donde yo vengo uno no pregunta quién es, ¿me entiendes? Entonces yo, obviamente, ese momento me toma por sorpresa y luego cuando ellos buscan, como que le interesó porque obviamente sabía que nosotros en el mundo artístico tenemos una cantidad de gente que está detrás de nosotros y yo creo que a él le gustó que lo taguearan y que le gustó el mundo de las redes. Y yo dije, está bien, él le gusta eso, pues vamos a su mundo y lo asumí también como un reto personal porque ¿sabes algo que sí tengo que decir de este deporte? Practico fútbol desde que tengo uso de razón y la disciplina que he adquirido en estos 20 días, un mes, no la había tenido nunca. Entonces yo creo que es un deporte de un rendimiento físico exageradísimo y me gustó. Entonces cuando medio traté, yo dije, ahora la oferta me suena más. Me gusta porque voy a trabajar en mi cuerpo, en mi mente, y pues aparte vamos a hacer sufrir un poco.
I was like, at first, you know, I asked the people, who's this guy? Because I had no idea, honestly, who he was. I know that he likes the social media. He likes the social media attention. And for me, you know, this is a personal goal. You know, I practiced soccer growing up, and I have the discipline of being in sports from that. I know this is a hard sport, but I like it. And I like this because it's gotten me disciplined and because I get to work and work real hard.
All righty, let's go back to more from remote.
Our next caller is AB Boxing News, Gustavo Neri.
Esta pregunta va para el campeón Reykon. ¿Cómo está, campeón? Me pregunta para usted, campeones, y si gana la pelea, ¿qué significa esta victoria para usted y su país de Colombia?
¿Cómo lo verán que ya me dicen campeón a mí?
How is it that they're already calling me champ? Look at that.
Okay. Yo creo que Colombia ha sido un país que siempre me ha apoyado desde mis inicios en la carrera. Y yo creo que ellos obviamente van a estar pensando que quieren que yo gane, ¿me entendés? La verdad, yo vuelvo y le repito, yo creo que esto lo asumo para mostrarle más a los jóvenes de que no importa el reto que es tan fuerte y si es tu mundo o no es tu mundo, pero que hay gente berraca en Colombia, que hay gente pujante, ¿me entiendes? Que hay gente que de verdad allá tenemos los huevos para salir a situaciones como esta, porque no cualquiera va a hacer eso. Y yo creo que eso es la gente colombiana.
You know, Colombia has always supported me since the beginning of my career. I know that they want me to win, and they've always showed me support. You know, this whole thing is to show, you know, people that are struggling, especially young people, you know, people that come from my country that are struggling, that are young, that you could go to a challenge and go with it head first, to show people that the people from my country have balls and that they can go and conquer challenges and do well.
I hope he comes in head first on the night.
Él espera que vienes tú por tú frente a frente con él en la noche de la pelea.
Ok. Última pregunta. Me gustaría saber si usted, que es un reggaetonero grande en el mundo, ¿usted piensa que muchos talentos de la música le gustaría entrar en ese deporte o qué consejos le vas a dar a tus compañeros entrando en este deporte de boxeo?
Si gano, sí. Si no, no van a querer.
If I win, yeah, of course. But if I lose, they're not going to want to do this.
Yo creo que más que invitarlos a pelear, porque la intención no es que, o sea, hay demasiada guerra en el mundo para uno incitar más a la pelea, pero yo creo que incitarlos más a que este deporte de verdad es una gran disciplina, vuelvo y repito, que ha hecho que me concentre de una manera increíble.
No, I think, you know, it does, you know, maybe open up future possibility, but, you know, this sport's very hard. It takes so much discipline, you know, so much discipline that I've never had before in other endeavors.
All right, what, I think, do we have one more? We've got another remote question, don't we?
We have Cage Side Press, Gabriel Gonzalez.
Hi, this question is for Reykon. Reykon, can you put into words how much of this is to grow your career as an artist and how much of it is to test yourself and what you can do just as a person?
Reykon, él quiere saber cuánto de esto, de hacer esta pelea es para crecer tu carrera o porque tú veramente quieres hacer esto, quieres retar.
Yo no reté, él me retó. Yo no reté a nadie.
This isn't a challenge. He's the one that challenged me. Remember that.
Yo vuelvo y te repito, asumo porque soy un hombre y llevo
I do this because I'm a man.
Las consecuencias hasta el final, ¿me entiendes? Pero lo mío es la música, lo mío es la música. Lo mío es la música, no la pelea. Pero voy a pelear con él.
You know, my thing's music, obviously, you know, my thing's music. That's my world, you know, but I'm a man and I got to go through with this as any man would do.
Yo necesito es hacer buena música. No.
The only thing I need to do is just make good music.
All right, we'll see. Let me ask you a question since we're going to get another one from our remote location. But have you heard anything here today that makes you feel that Raycon's confident?
He just sounds afraid, to be honest with you, and that's really understandable because I wouldn't want to get punched by me either. I'm actually thinking of going into music after this because he's kind of challenging me to do that.
Él dice que tú tienes temor, que no vas a querer que él te golpea y pues cuando gana él va a empezar una carrera en música.
I'm going to call Carol G and do a duet.
No va a poder.
You're not going to be able to do it, buddy.
No va a poder. Yo ya lo he escuchado hablar.
All you do is talk.
Let's go back out and get another remote question and see what they have to say from the hinterlands.
Next, we have MMA Island, Donna Corby.
Hey, Joe. what I've always found in my obviously at a much lower level than you, whenever I played when I played football, I found that the hardest guys to play against were the guys who had no idea what they were doing, the guys who would just kick away at your legs. Obviously, that's kind of what you're expecting going into this fight. Is that the biggest concern for you, that this guy is going to be extremely unorthodox? He's going to be, like, obviously, look, technically, he's going to be probably the worst guy who you've been in the ring with, but he's going to be difficult to fight maybe because of that.
You know, that's kind of how I got here today, being awkward and difficult with not much amateur background. So, like I said, I'm taking it as a real fight. I'm training, I'm sparring tough guys, and I'm trying to spar as many awkward, tough, tattooed type of people that think they're street fighters, because I do expect, you know, him coming out, you know, just out of nervousness and throwing some serious bombs. So yeah, you're right. I am expecting something really unorthodox, and that does give him a danger. We're going to weigh in the same weight. We're two men. We're both, you know, in our 30s. So at the end of the day, it's a real fight. That's why we're here. So yeah, it's going to be awkward for me. He's definitely not going to be coming out technically like a former Olympian, but like I said, he sounds confident, and in fairness, he does have the balls to sign the contract and get in the ring, which is a lot. I can say to a lot of other people that, you know, sit on their sofa and pretend to want to know or do fighting, you know. So fair play to him. I do think he's had a few street fights, and I do think he's won them. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here today.
What else we got remotely?
Our next question is from Bad Left Hook, Michael Woods.
Big Al, how you doing, man?
I'm good.
All right, question for Reykon. All due respect for you taking this assignment, stepping in. No BS. Fournier already said it. You deserve respect for that. As I'm listening to this, though, I really am wondering, have you been in at least street fights? Have you been in situations where you've hit someone and hurt them, or you've been hit and hurt? Because you know, there's the distinct possibility here that this guy who's at 8 pro fights is going to crack pretty freaking hard. Have you been in fights?
Él quiere saber, primero te quiere dar respeto para tomando esta pelea. Quiere saber, ¿tú has estado en peleas y has recibido golpes? Porque pues él es un profesional, tiene un récord de 8-0, es invicto, él es boxeador, pues quiere saber eso.
A mí la vida me ha golpeado muchas veces. Gente me ha golpeado, la vida me ha golpeado, yo sé recibir golpes, ¿me entiendes? Lo único que yo tengo para decirles es que él va a tener que seguir peleando contra artistas o deportistas, gente de otros deportes, porque si pelea contra boxeadores, de verdad él no va a poder, ¿me entiendes? Él busca gente como nosotros, que sabe que ahí entramos en otra zona, ¿me entiendes? Entonces yo creo que yo puedo recibir esos golpes. Yo he recibido en la calle, desde niño, de donde vengo. Yo vengo de un barrio donde se vivía bastante ese tipo de cosas. Y no pasa nada, ¿me entiendes?
No, I've taken beatings and gotten into fights my whole entire life, man. And, you know, I come from a very, you know, rough hood where I grew up in Colombia, you know, and in terms of you saying, you know, that he has boxing experience, who has he fought? Look at the guys that he's fought. He's fought taxi guys. Why do you think he's bringing someone like me in here to go ahead and fight him? Because if he went ahead and fought real boxers, he wouldn't win.
That's going to hurt April 17th.
Tiene que pelear contra artistas. Él va a tener que seguir peleando contra artistas, porque contra boxeadores no podría jamás.
You're going to have to keep fighting against music artists, man, because with boxers you won't be able to win.
Sus 8 victorias tienen que haber sido así. Yo no creo que
Yeah, those 8 victories were against nobodies. How do you think you got 8 victories if you would have fought against real boxers?
When you're peeing blood for the next 2 weeks after April 17th, remember this day.
Cuando estás sangrando, vas a recordar las cosas que tú me dijiste ahora.
Okay.
All right. Well, we have one. I think we have one more question remotely. This will be the last one that we have for Joe and Reykon. Go ahead.
From Viper Sport, Fuad Abdul Aziz.
Hi, Joe. Just a quick question for you, mate. You made it clear there that you said that Jake Paul can fight. Obviously, he's taking on Ben Askren on the main event, and you're looking to fight him next. Obviously, he's watching. It'd be nice if you can maybe get a little message across to him. Let him know that you're wanting to fight. Any message for Jake?
Jake, at the end of the day, I heard you call me an old man. I am 38 and I'm getting there. So take your chance whilst you can, because you know, at the end of the day, we've had this conversation. I put my money on the line. You got scared and you turned it down, and now you're going against a guy who, with no boxing experience. If you really want to earn your stripes, step in the ring with me, and let's do this next.
Nice.
All right. Hey, I appreciate you being here with us. We're all looking forward to April 17th, and good luck to you guys.
Thank you very much, Al.
Thank you very much. All righty. We'll see you guys in just a little bit. Thank you. All right. It is now my my extreme pleasure to introduce to you and welcome in a gentleman who is a music icon, an actor, talk show host, business entrepreneur, and just generally an all-around cool guy. Please help me welcome Snoop Dogg.
Yabba dabba do. Guess what, America? We love you. Al Bernstein, my main man.
How are you?
What's up, Top Dog? How you doing today?
It's good to see you.
I'm sitting there right here.
To be here and happy to be here with you.
Come on, Al. You know, I was out there watching. I said, man, that sounds like my main man, Al Bernstein out here, man. I had to get close to the camera to see if it was you or not. Somebody was impersonating your voice.
Well, you know, listen, this is great because you are a co-creator of all this. And I know you have a great passion for boxing. And I know that you feel like this endeavor is something that can invigorate the sport, right?
I think it gives boxing another way to perform, because the traditional way of boxing, you just see the fighter come out, box, and then he leaves. But this is more of a production. You see great entertainment, you see great fights, you see great commentating, you see so many different things that keeps you, you know, engaged into this performance/fight that is like no other. And it just makes fighters feel like, you know, if I do want to fight again, or if I do want to fight, this is the perfect platform to fight on, because it's so exciting and so entertaining throughout the whole night.
And the other thing about this, and you've already had a taste of it, is you become a boxing commentator, which is unique. I've seen you interview many boxers. Are you digging it? You enjoying it?
I'm loving it, Al. I'm gonna be honest with you, because as a kid, I always idolized Muhammad Ali, and I loved Howard Cosell, the way they had they back and forth, and the way that their conversation was strong. And I always wanted to be like that kind of guy, to be the one that the boxers trusted in, believed in, and had fun with, and could also clown around with the boxers too. So I'm just taking my Howard Cosell and a little bit of Ali and mixing it up, trying to do my thing.
There you go. A role model. Now, on April 17th, in addition, of course, you're going to be performing, and you are going to create some music history with Mount Westmore.
Yes,
tell us about that, and that is very exciting.
Man, Mount Westmore is a group formulated by myself, E40, Ice Cube, and Too Short, 4 icons from the West Coast. We came together to put together a musical masterpiece. We will be debuting our first single that night, as well as performing on stage that night. So it's going to be a treat for those that really enjoy West Coast hip hop and just hip hop in general. So this is what we do. Mount Westmore, baby.
Very excited. Well, we're all excited to see it. Now, I have been told from a source close to you that you have a special guest for us.
I got something real special up my sleeves, Al. You know, I don't come out for nothing. I got to come out for special events. This is a special event. This fight club is going to be very special, but I got something super, 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 snooper duper special.
Okay.
So without further ado, I'd like to, you know, pop out a little special seasoning salt to this event. Where's my special guest? I smell something golden.
Oh, I know this guy.
You smell it?
I have met this gentleman.
You know this man? That's my special guest right here. The big O.
The great Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar, how are you?
Golden boy. You hear me? What's up, Oscar? How you doing, loved one?
I'm good, my man. How you doing?
I'm good. What you in town for?
I'm, you know, I heard something was going down here, so.
Yeah, I heard something was going down too. I mean, you got great fighters. I've been watching you walk in the ring with your fighters. Your boy Ortiz had a great fight the other night.
Last fight, Virgil Ortiz.
That was an amazing fight. But I feel like it's something missing, man. I keep seeing you in the ring, but I don't see you in the ring. I mean, talk to me.
Why don't you? I mean, you're part owner of a Triller fight club. Why don't you tell me?
I think you should tell him, man. It's you, not me.
Okay. July 3rd, I'm making my comeback.
Ooh.
Oh boy. You heard it here first, and he dropped the microphone. Only West Coast Kings can do that. You understand me? So with that being said, on the 3rd, he's back in the ring. And now,
just to make sure everyone understood, Oscar said on July 3rd, he is making his comeback before that mic drop.
So that means he's getting back in the ring, putting on some boxing gloves and da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
You see, now you look at, you're a newsmaker as well. I can add that. I gave you that whole long list of accolades. Now I'm going to tell you you're a newsmaker as well. Look at that.
That's the #1 pay-per-view fighter of all time. I'm talking about the #1 pound for pound is back, baby, and he's getting it in with us on Fight Club on the 3rd. It's going to be off the hizzle for shizzle, baby.
That gives us something exciting to look forward to, doesn't it?
In a real way. You understand me?
That's beautiful.
Without further ado, let's get back into the show, Al. Where were we before we were interrupted with that great news?
All right. Now we're gonna. Are we getting any questions for Snoop Dogg here, or we're no? All right. So luckily I'm the one that got to ask you the questions. You are I know excited for April 17th. I'm excited, and I can't wait. Around my house, my stock went up dramatically when I could tell my 21-year-old son that I'm announcing with Snoop Dogg.
My stock went up when I seen the interview with me and you, and I seen your backdrop. Your backdrop was the way you put that in there. When we did the interview, it wasn't there, but when I seen it back, that was nice. It looked like we was on some real professional, top-notch interview. You understand me? So you put stripes on my resume to be able to hold a conversation with somebody as great as you that's been doing it for a long time. Like, that means the world to me to be able to chop up game with you, Al. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I'm excited to be with you, that's for sure. Snoop, thank you very much. We appreciate you being out here, and we can't wait for April 17th. And we are going to be coming right back. Stay with us.
Oh, you want to ask a question? Yeah. Okay, we got some press in the house right now that want to holler at the deal double. We're going to give you action. We got a couple questions.
You of all people. Can I ask now, Al?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, go ahead.
I guess, Snoop, the first thing is, I know you and Dana White are friends, and is Dana going to lose $1 million because he bet that Jake Paul would not beat Ben Askren?
I don't know. Dana White got to be very careful about that bet right there because my boy Jake really know how to swing them things. You know what I'm saying? You get a fair one and a square one, and I think that we will find out. And if he do lose, Dana White does pay up because I could say that once upon a time, me and him made a bet. And he chased me down in a hotel to give me my money, man, and make sure I got paid. So Dana is a man of his word.
And Snoop, the other thing I wanted to ask you a little bit like what I asked Joe before, I know you have a separate business and an idea for, and you did very well with the Tyson fight. How do you think what Triller is doing may impact regular boxing, people like Top Rank and Golden Boy Promotions? And do you think that you can help bring their athletes up and where they become bigger on their own platforms as opposed to just on Triller?
I think that this is going to be a great option for fighters because a lot of times, if you notice, it takes a whole lot to get those two fighters to fight, no matter how it's set up. So, for example, if you got this great champion, and they're not fighting each other, what's the holdup? Over here at Triller, if you want to fight somebody, you think you can get down? We're going to lock it up. We're going to make it official. Y'all can get down and y'all can get popping. See, what I don't really understand about boxing is when you got a champion over here that's undefeated and a champion over here that's undefeated, why aren't they fighting? You make them dance around everybody else. See, but what we do is we just take whoever want to get cracking, you want to line it up, you want to get busy, you against him, no in-betweens. None of that old, we got to wait to the WBO, whatever, wop, boop, boop, bop. Just get down. We get down where you mad at. We the option. You know what I'm saying? If you want to really get down without all of that, come over here with us.
And I have one last question for you. Conor McGregor fought Floyd, and obviously that did not go well for Conor. He's one of the great, MMA fighters of all time, and that didn't go well in a boxing match. What makes you think that MMA fighters would be able to transition to fight, I'm not saying to fight celebrities, but to fight actual real boxers and do well, given that they've trained their whole lives in different disciplines?
Well, if you know anything about the gym, a lot of those MMA fighters have to fight from their feet, standing up first. So you got to get a boxing technique about yourself. But I just feel like most good fighters understand the environment that they're in. If you're a good boxer, you're a good boxer. If you're a good MMA fighter, you're a good MMA fighter. To me, I feel like somebody like Khabib or Skinny Bones Jones, they would be great boxers because they fight good from standing up. So I think it's an advantage to whoever has the best boxing skills, no matter if you're in MMA or in boxing. It's all about who has the best boxing skills that night and who's on top of their game and has the most stamina and endurance to last that fight.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. I was only kidding before when I threw the break, but this time I'm serious. You're going to join us again when
Yes,
we
sir.
get to our main event, Snoop. And we are going to be coming back with more about our fight card and the excitement of April 17th.
Fight Club, cuz.
All right. Good to see you, man.
YouTuber Jake Paul fighting three-time NBA slam dunk champion Nate Robinson.
If you told my 10-year-old self I'd be fighting on a Mike Tyson card, I'd be like, no way. I'm going to take his head off. Really? Have to.
Hey, Robinson.
Let's go, Nate. Hey, Nate finna beat this boy ass, and I'm finna enjoy every moment of it.
Nate, what's up, bro? You want to come train with us, bro?
Good job, Nate.
I just want to prove that, I'm the greatest athlete, one of the greatest athletes to ever walk this earth.
I'm a fucking champion. Everyone thought that Nate Robinson was going to beat me. I was the most betted against person that night. All of these people, they didn't think I'm a real fighter. And so that's the beauty of it, is when a bunch of people think you're going to lose and like proving them wrong.
Nate Robinson is a former teammate of yours. He tweeted out, I'm going to shock the world. And then after his knockout, you responded to that tweet and you're like, yeah, I see no lies, man.
Yeah. Boxing was pretty much a dying sport. 25 million views, boxing's going back.
I know my ability. I'm just going to prove it to the world. Welcome to the show.
Bitch, I'm a fucking champion.
Welcome back. Now, in just a moment, we're going to be meeting Steve Cunningham, the former cruiserweight champion of the world, and Frank Mir, the former UFC heavyweight champion of the world. But before we do that, we want to tell you a little bit about the venue that we're going to be at for April 17th. It's the Mercedes-Benz Stadium that will be the home for the inaugural Triller Fight Club. And this is a world-class venue, of course. It's the home to the Atlanta Falcons. It's hosted a Super Bowl and the college football national playoffs. And on April 17th, this will be the very first boxing event that will have been at that stadium at 9 p.m. You can go to TrillerFightClub.com, find out everything you need to know about this event, about how to order it, and you can see lots of great features leading up to this fun event. Now, our second fight of the night is a very unique blend of two world champions. And we take a look at the matchup, and it is involving cruiserweight champion Steve Cunningham, who was involved in some of the most exciting fights that boxing has had in the last couple decades. And he joins this promotion on short notice, replacing Antonio Tarver, but jumping into the fray. And he will take on Big Frank Mir, of course, the UFC heavyweight champion, a man that has the record for most submissions among a heavyweight. But of course, that's not going to do him any good in this particular discipline. But he is a big, tough man, and he's answering the call for his first boxing match. And I think we're ready to bring both those men on stage. So let's bring out Steve Cunningham and Frank Mir. Hey, Steve. Good to see you. Hi, Frank. How are you? Good to see you, man. All right, so two great guys, and I've the pleasure of knowing Steve real well, and I know a million people that know Frank, so I know he's a great guy. Steve, I'm going to start with you. Now, you haven't fought since 2017, and you didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this. You kind of jumped in. So how's that process been for you?
Mic check. Oh, for me, that process is pretty simple. You know, I'm a champion. I'm a two-time world champion. My thing has been staying in the gym. I own the gym now, train other fighters, my sons who are at the USA Boxing National Tournament right now. getting ready to rank back up. I train a lot of fighters. I spar all the time. I'm always working out. That's been my thing throughout my time as a fighter, fighting once a year under a certain promoter, staying active, going to training camp. So I'm always in the gym. I'm always, because we
You
own
look
the
like you're in great shape.
I am. That's the goal, to die in shape. I want to die 100 years old in shape. So
we'd like you to live for a while longer, though.
Hey, all right, I'm with that. I'm with that.
Yeah. Now you're facing a bigger man, but then that's nothing new for you. Among them, Tyson Fury, you've faced big men before, for sure.
Yes, Natui Vasenia. Everybody's been bigger than me. Once I went up to heavyweight, they were all bigger than me.
Yeah.
Size in combat sport doesn't really matter, especially to a trained warrior. I'm beyond a trained warrior. I'm a trained champion. And I'm training others to be champions. So, his size is an advantage, but it's an advantage that we know how to get around, that we know how to work under, and that we know how to work in, and perform.
All right, we're going to see now, Frank. I saw an interview in which you kind of explained this as a win-win situation for you. Explain that to the folks.
Well, I'm making my debut in the boxing discipline, and I'm facing somebody who is a former champion. This is a fight that, as far as debut goes, as guys going into boxing, this is probably the most difficult one that a lot of professionals. Obviously, I'm pulling off of a professional career in MMA, the experience I've garnered there, but this is still a new animal altogether. So going out there, obviously being victorious is phenomenal, but going out there and also being just proficient and having a good showing, a good representation of what mixed martial artists are able to do in boxing is also a victory.
Yeah, and you were mentioning that if you can do well it speaks well for you for mixed martial artists.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, this is a situation where I'm a decathlete, where I have to train all the different disciplines from boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, where now I'm basically a decathlete who's competing against a specialist, where I'm going to be in a sprinting event against a person who is a sprinting champion. It's definitely going to be a huge challenge.
And now, so Steve coming in as short notice, but you were preparing for Antonio Tarver, who is different than him. He's a left-hander, among other things. Did this change your approach to this fight at all?
Actually, there's a lot of changes in it. Antonio is much more conservative with his punching. He's more calculated. He doesn't show up in great shape in his fights, so he has to be much more again, the word calculating, conservative, try to be more of a marksman. Steve is much more of a warrior who is physically in shape and mentally very tough. He very much brings that Philadelphia type mindset where he's not going to slip and move away from punches. He shells up well, fires off right off the bat. Phenomenal long jab from the outside. And he just has a lot of grit, a lot of heart, which in turn also sometimes has gotten him in trouble. But in times, you have someone like Tyson Fury says you're the hardest fight he's ever had. That's a statement in itself.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You should actually, instead of fighting this fight, you should just sit at ringside and analyze it.
I do well at that too.
You'll take my job on the fight night. Now, we have, of course, press on hand here that are going to ask questions. Let's go out to a question.
Yeah. Frank, I know that a lot of us were surprised, right, when you made this announcement that you were going to be partaking in this. And then you got to change of opponent on top of that, right? I'm curious, did that cause any hesitation at all? Was there any discussion like, hey, we were already taking a chance. Now this is even more of a chance, even more crazy. Did you think, maybe we should wait till another opportunity's around?
Well, the one thing that hasn't changed, it was always going to be a challenge. It was going to be something that I knew was going to bring out the best in me, to give me something to face. I always tell people that, so many people want to improve their life. They want to do something. They're not happy with where they are. I tell them, hey, pick a running event, pick up a jiu-jitsu competition, go, a point fighting, do something, put it on your calendar, and it gives you a reason to train, a reason to push yourself. And that adversity and that suffering is going to make you a better person. And that's what I saw fighting in a boxing match as many opportunities, but that being one of them, as an opportunity to test myself and push myself to my brink. And it absolutely changed things up because Tarver, I saw somebody, again, I said that, again, I'm not taking away from Cunningham's boxing skills. I'm saying that Tarver relies more on being cunning and, trying to win with the judges, landing a more consecutive shot, tying up, keeping the distance. You even watch their fight together. Cunningham was trying to make it a fight, and Tarver slowed it down and kept it very close so that way they eked out that split decision or the draw. Cunningham is a much tougher guy. I'm not going to have as much of an advantage in age as I thought I was going to have over Tarver. I knew that Tarver wasn't going to probably be in the same kind of shape that I was. And because I knew that when it comes to boxing IQ, Cunningham's greater than I am, but Tarver's even more so. I knew that I couldn't be the smarter guy. For the first time in my career, I wasn't the more technical fighter. So it really inspired me to be in the gym, pushing my physical prowess, knowing that, hey, I'm going to have to make this ugly. I'm going to have to crowd them. I'm going to have to beat them up and keep up the conditioning that my size is an advantage because I can keep using it. If it becomes something where I get tired, well, now my size becomes a disadvantage. So when I found out it was Cunningham, and I had known who he was from the Tyson Fury fight, but then I started looking at his other bouts, I realized that this is even a tougher fight.
Yeah. To a lot of fans, you know, you're kind of representing MMA, right? I mean, do you welcome that? I mean, are you okay with that? Like kind of standing for the sport in this challenge, or do you feel like, hey, guys, don't give me that label. You know, I'm just kind of going in here taking a boxing fight.
No, absolutely. I love that challenge. I love that label. Look, there's no greater pressure than competing, and I'm sure Cunningham can agree to this, when you compete in front of your children. You know, my daughter's in my corner. My sons are there ringside watching. They watch me every morning when I get up before they do to go train, and when I come home late at night and go to bed, you know, and they're already laying there, you know. So I live to try to be an example to them, you know. I'm constantly trying to be an example to my wife so that when she sits there and, you know, there's nobody that knows you better than your wife, right? You know, sit there and go, okay, did you eat the right way today? Did you train hard enough? Did you take time off when you need to? Because that was the smart thing to do. So I'm constantly always putting pressure upon myself because that always helps me be better. Any time in my life, and look, for my late 30s, I very much did that. Due to injuries and being beat up and hurt, my body was falling apart. I started giving myself just, does it really matter? Who cares? I've done this, I've accomplished that. I took away that pressure and I became a fat, middle-aged dad bod that was a very disgusting representation of a martial arts champion. Going down, doing stem cell with bioaccelerator and doing everything I've done was from you know, American Shaman, trying to fix my body up to be able to be in the gym and training. Now, I'm happy to just be a good example of what a warrior should be.
Nice. What do you think you weigh on fight night?
265, 270. I'm about 275 right now.
Fair enough. Thanks. I want to ask Steve as well. I mean, when you first heard this match was announced, obviously you weren't a part of it. It was the Antonio fight. What did you think when you first heard this? You know, Frank Mir, UFC champion, coming over, Antonio coming back. What did you think of it?
In all actuality, I was happy. I was happy for Antonio Tarver because, you know, I knew he didn't fight since our last fight in 2017. I'm like, wow, he gets, and it's an opportunity, you know, it's Triller, Jake Paul, all of this stuff has opened up doors for fighters to make money, to showcase their skills, to present themselves to the fans. So I was actually ecstatic for Tarver and ecstatic to see it. You know, I'm like, hey, that's a good matchup. I like to see that. You know, so then I get the call and it's like, yo, all right, you know, I just step in. I'm always ready.
What do you think Franco brings to the table? Like, obviously, you know, he's fought at the highest level of the sport in mixed martial arts. I mean, a UFC champion, Hall of Fame type career, but this is a different sport, right? I mean, so is he completely out of his element, do you think, in coming to the sport? Or do you feel like, you know, the fact that he's competed at such a high level in mixed martial arts, he'll be successful in this?
Yeah, that in itself, him competing at a high level in the UFC as a champion, and that in itself makes him prepared for our fight, for April 17th. That's the warrior in him. He's a warrior, period. That's just the line right there, warrior. So once you pass that line, then you have champion. He's a warrior and a champion. So for anybody who thinks this is easy or, oh, Cunningham's going to breeze through him, nah, you shouldn't. I don't think like that. You know, in the words of my late trainer, Brother Nazim, you take everybody serious. That's Tyson Fury right there. You know, I'm about to fight Tyson Fury again. You know, that's the mindset. That's the mindset I'm going through in every fight. So you buckle down like that, and you go to the gym, you train hard, and you push. Even short notice, it's just a few notches, you know, adjustments here, adjustments there, and we're ready.
All right. So last question for me, we talked about the size difference. What do you think you'll weigh on fight night?
210 is the goal. You know, 210. I'm almost there. We'll make it, and just go to work. You know.
All right, thank you very much. Now we're going to get some remote questions from around the globe. So let's go to them.
Our first question is from Cage Side Press, Josh Evanoff.
Yeah, I got a quick question for Frank. Frank, obviously you've been fighting in MMA for 20 plus years. You've been a former world champion. You've been pretty much everywhere the MMA world has been. You've been fighting Bellator, UFC. How has it been making that transition just in terms of preparation to fighting, now making your pro boxing debut and against a guy in Steve Cunningham on short notice?
The best part was that actually, because I was preparing for a bare knuckle fight, that gave me a lot of sparring in that realm, which helped me segue into this. On the outside, things are extremely similar between boxing and MMA, a little bit different of stance and whatnot because of angle. We don't have to protect our lead leg as much. But the clinch is a little bit different. And honestly, that's been the hardest part for me. There's a lot of things that I keep on accidentally doing, and I've almost eliminated it completely. But holding the back of someone's head and driving an uppercut is very legal in MMA, and it was legal in bare knuckle. And now I get my dad at the side of the ring is screaming at me, "Stop punching with the clinch!" So I'm working on it. So there are some aspects of it that are just instinct in me. When I put wrestling shoes on or boxing shoes, I tend not to kick or knee. That's easy because I've sparred so many rounds boxing in preparation for MMA. I've never made that mistake, but again, the clinch is probably the hardest part because there's so many similarities between bare knuckle boxing and MMA, and that's what I was training for. That now the pure boxing rules and the clinch, it changes things.
All right. What else we got?
Next is the Full Reptile YouTube, James Mystery.
Hey Frank, great to see you up here, mate. Can you just talk to me a little bit about when the thought of boxing competitively became a serious idea to you?
Well, it probably came back in the day when I first started training boxing very solely to try to help me out with MMA when I was sparring with Bermain, and Marco Huck and whatnot, guys coming in and working. And I was like, wow, this is exciting. I like it, in its own chess match in itself. And the type of brain I have, I just really enjoyed it. I really love wrestling. My daughter and my kids are very good at it. My daughter's going up to nationals. In fact, this weekend right now, she's on a plane, multiple time state champion. So I'm an avid fan of wrestling, but there are times when wrestling to me gets a little boring. I think boxing is much more of a thinking man as far as speed and ingenuity. And there's just more to it as far as, because of the pain factor as far as testing a man's soul. Wrestling hurts your lungs, but there's just no sensation as getting hit by another man in front of you and knowing he's going to continue to do so. And you have to do something about it. And there's no one that's going to come to help you.
All right. Let's get our last remote question.
From Bad Left Hook, Michael Woods.
Hello, Big Al again, and my friend Steve Cunningham. You and I worked together on Fight Night Live near Philadelphia 2 weeks ago. And how about that? What were we talking about? You were wanting another fight, and I said, what about those Triller people? It came to fruition, huh?
Totally, man. You talked it up, Mike. You still there? Is Mike still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you talked it up. We sat there, we were commentating some fights in Philly. Got guys coming up from the amateurs, actually from the tournament that my sons are at right now, guys turn pro. And I got the opportunity to commentate again. That I'm trying to keep my wheels spinning on that. And to do it with Mike is a pleasure because it's like, yin and yang going on. Me and Mike, we have different views on certain things, even in the sport. But we come together to make the show great. But he was just saying, man, what about Triller? And me and my wife, who is my manager, my gorgeous wife, she's around somewhere. We were like, hey, we want to contact them. We want to get in touch because a lot of people been saying I've been retired. And I'm like, I haven't retired. I still want to fight a few times, before I retire and pass the torch to USS Junior, and my son Cruz. So, but we get the call, and it's amazing.
All right. I should identify that gentleman that asked the question Ed did before, Colonel Bob Sheridan, a Hall of Famer in the sport of boxing. I want to thank both of you gentlemen for gracing this stage and for showing such great class. And we look forward to seeing you guys on April 17th.
Thank you.
All right.
Same here. Salute.
Steve Cunningham, USS Cunningham. There you go. And Frank Mir. Frank, good to see you. All right, Steve, take care. Well, our next, we're going to, in a moment or two, we're going to talk about our next match coming up, which is former world champion, Regis Prograis, taking on Ivan Redcat. But first, before we do that, you had a hint before when we had Snoop on about the great music that is going to be on the April 17th show. That is a integral part of the evening. Let's take a look at that and take a look at the musical lineup that you're going to see. It's a knockout. Justin Bieber with his full band will be on hand. The Black Keys will be there. And as Snoop referenced, Mount Westmore, a group that he put together with Ice Cube, Too Short, and E40, they're going to be making their debut performance. So in a way, it's going to be musical history. Also, Dojo Cat, Saweetie, and Diplo are going to be on hand. So it's going to be an amazing night of music. It's kind of like stepping into a music festival. And of course, every one of those acts are spectacular. So we're looking forward to that. Now, let's get back to the boxing, and we'll continue on with our boxing card. The co-main event in the evening on April 17th will be Regis Prograis, who is a former 140-pound champion, who is undefeated, was undefeated until he faced Josh Taylor and lost a very close decision to him. And other than that, has never lost a fight. And of course, the Taylor fight was a very close fight that arguably could have gone either way. And the man he's taking on, Ivan Redkach, a contender in several weight divisions. This is his Super Bowl because a win here is vital to him to get back into a contending situation. And he's just coming off a decision loss to Danny Garcia, of course, one of the top fighters in the world. So let's bring them out to the stage now. Regis Prograis and Ivan Redkach. Gentlemen, how are you? Regis, how are you? Good to see you. Ivan, how are you? It's been my great honor to broadcast fights of both of these terrific fighters, and I'm thrilled that I'm going to have a chance to announce their fight on April 17th. Let me turn to Regis first. You, in your last fight, beat Juan Heraldez and knocked him out. You were the first one to knock him out, and you're kind of using this fight as a way to reach a lot of people and market yourself to get back into another world title shot. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, very, very fair statement. Yeah, I mean, first off, I'm just thankful for this opportunity. You know, like this whole Triller card, this whole with the Jake Paul, with the YouTube stuff. I mean, it's a whole different market, and I'm glad to be a part of this stuff, and I'm happy. You know, and I just want to go out there and show the world like I am the best at 140. And I'm gonna keep saying it, and I just want to, one thing about me is, I say it, but I'm gonna keep proving it. So I'm happy. I'm very excited about this fight. And I can't wait.
And when you were on my show, we talked a little bit about how much you appreciate the whole concept of this event, the musical part, and that you kind of at one point wanted to be a part of this, and so now you are.
Yeah, man. I mean, I saw, I was, of course, I think the first one, if I'm not mistaken, was with Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, and I talked to Roy. Roy's a friend of mine. And I mean, I was at home, I was at my house in New Orleans watching it. And, I saw, Jake Paul, knocked out Nate Robinson. I mean, listen, I have, like I was telling you on your show, I have like a street team, right? In New Orleans, and they've been trying to do something like this a long time ago, where it's an event, not you don't just have boxing as just regular boxing. Now you have a whole event going around. You have all these performers, and it's like an event. Just like I was telling you, sometimes only certain fighters is you have a real event. You have a Floyd Mayweather, a Manny Pacquiao, a Canelo Alvarez, maybe like somebody like Anthony Joshua over there. When they fight, it's an event. But now when you have you bringing all this stuff into it, all the artists, all the musical talents, this is turning into an event. And I think boxing been needed something like this to happen. And I'm glad to be a part of this.
Yeah, very well put. That's a very good point. We're going to turn to Ivan, and Anya Andrezzo will translate as we talk to Ivan. Nice to see you, by the way, again, Anya. Now, you went the distance, Ivan, with Danny Garcia, and you couldn't quite get the job done. You have had a great career, except the big moments that you've gotten against major fighters, it hasn't quite worked out. What do you have to do to make that happen?
Бой с Дэнни Гарсией, но тебе немножко не хватило, чтобы доделать это до конца, чтобы добить его до конца. Какие ты примешь шаги сейчас, чтобы сделать то, что ты не сделал с боем Дэнни Гарсией?
Ну, скажу честно, что мне этот бой дали за 3 недели всего лишь.
I'll be
Мне-
honest with you. I got that fight only 3 weeks before the actual fight, so I didn't have enough time to prepare.
Поэтому у меня сейчас было 8 недель полных подготовки, и я буду в своей самой наилучшей форме.
Well, we understood it's not an excuse anyway, but at this time I had the full 8 weeks of camp and I'm fully prepared.
Great. So you'll be well prepared. Now, this fight is interesting because we have two left-handers going it now. And you, Regis, I know have sparred before, so you guys are aware of each other. Two left-handers, it's different, isn't it?
Вы оба левши, и будет достаточно интересно посмотреть на то, что вы собираетесь сделать.
Да, мы спарринговали вместе, он отличный боец, и это будет зрелищная битва у нас 17 апреля.
You know, we sparred together and it was a great sparring. Regis knows better than anybody else that it was a good sparring. I met him a little bit bleeding, but we'll see. April 17.
Well, we will for sure. And of course, as with every fight before this, we have questions from the audience. Kevin Ioli's out there and he wants to chat with the fighters.
Hey, Regis, there was a question asked of Frank Mir before, you're kind of representing the MMA fans. And I wonder, you're probably the best fighter that has fought on this in terms of, active fighters. Do you feel like you're carrying the flag for boxing fans, like that you have to put, for people who may be watching because they're fans of the musical artists, or maybe they want to see how the MMA fighters do? Do you want to put on a statement of how good boxing could be at the highest level?
Of course. I mean, I'm always, every time I fight, I'm always looking to give a spectacular performance. So even, with this show, even more. So I'm definitely, I want to represent boxing well and myself well and give a spectacular performance.
And, one of the things that Triller has done so far, they haven't had a matchup like this where two top guys are meeting. Now we're going to have Lopez versus Kambosos. Do you think you're going to see other boxers try this and try to say, hey, let's go to fight at Triller Fight Club and whatever that would do to your popularity with other, audiences that maybe don't know you now?
Yeah, I definitely think a lot of fighters gonna try to do this, man. I keep telling people I'm glad I got the call, and I'm pretty sure Ivan's glad he got the call too, because this is a huge platform, and then they're paying us all this damn money. So of course, yeah, I think a lot of other fighters they're gonna be trying to reach out, man. I won't go fight on Triller. Because it's an event. Just like I keep saying, it's gonna be a whole event, and it's different from a regular boxing show. That's sometimes it can be boring if it's not a lot. I'm not saying it can be boring, but if it's not a mainstream fighter, a lot of people won't tune in. But with this, it's a whole event, so a lot of people is going to be tuned in. So yeah, just like I said, I want to give a spectacular performance.
Regis, I know you're a boxing historian. You follow the history of the sport very closely. There are some really hardcore boxing fans who don't like this because they don't, these hybrid fights, the musical artists fighting, NBA players fighting. And so that they think maybe you're kind of bastardizing yourself by doing this. How do you respond to them that fans of yourself, why are you doing something like this?
I mean, I'm not worried about that, man. I'm worried about my fight. That's the thing. I'm fighting a real fighter. That's what I know. I'm fighting, a real fighter. And then you got to look at, you can't look at the negative. You got to look at the positive, So the positive for me is that, you have Jake Paul that's coming in, but he has a whole ton of, just a whole different world out there. Popularity and famous is different these days. I was at the fight with his brother in LA, and man, it was kids there. You talk about 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids, not with their parents. They was all at the fight, So if you can have somebody that's gonna bring those type of fans and with the old school boxing fans, I mean, it's a win-win. I think it's a win-win. And then just like you said, after we're coming in, getting these fights in, then I think more people, more real fighters not saying real fighters, not disrespecting anybody, but more boxers or MMA fighters, they're gonna try to come in and they're gonna try and be a part of Triller too, because like I keep saying, it's gonna be an event, not just a regular boxing match or a regular MMA fight. It's gonna be a whole event. So yeah, I think it's a good thing.
And my last question, to pick on your boxing expertise would be this. I saw BJ Flores on the way in. You know, obviously he's training Jake, and he's, you know, he said Jake is going to look spectacular, but he's biased. You know, you're a guy that knows what you're looking at. I know you said you watched Jake's fight against Nate Robinson. I mean, it was a little difficult for him, but did you see anything in Jake in that fight that tells you that he actually could box?
I mean, I don't know. I can't really say that, you know, because he fought the first fight, he fought another YouTuber, right? In the second fight, he laid out Nate Robinson, you know. So if of course he'll have a long way to go to, you know, to get with actual boxes. But, you know, these dudes are putting in work just like we are, you know, so you never know. From what I'm hearing, they all putting in work just like we are. So you never know what's going to go on.
All righty, we're going to go out to our virtual press now and get another remote question.
Our first remote question is from the LA Times, Manuk Akopian.
Hey, Regis, a question for you. I know a lot of boxers that I talk to, they don't like to play second fiddle as far as being on the undercard or a co-feature. How do you feel about that, considering you fought Josh Taylor in a sold-out O2 arena as a world champion, and now you have to be a co-feature to a YouTuber? How do you feel about that?
I'm not worried about it at all, man. I don't care about that stuff. You know, I know I have to go out there and look spectacular and take care of business. You know, Jake Paul is obviously he's very, very popular. So I'm not worried about being a undercard or nothing like that. That has no concern to me at all.
What else do we have from the remote?
We have from Viper Sport, Fuad Abdul Aziz.
Regis, just a couple of questions from me, mate. First one is, you've obviously spoken very highly of Triller there. How much of a threat do you think they'll be to the mainstream boxing? You know, in MMA, we see one sort of company run the whole show pretty much, mainstream-wise, the UFC. But in boxing, we don't have that. We have multiple organizations, multiple promotions. How much do you think Triller will have an effect on the whole boxing world?
I mean, I think Triller coming in strong, you know. I mean, you got this going on, and then, you know, from what I've seen, they just did the Teofimo fight in Cambodia. So I think they're coming in strong. I don't know how much of a threat they'll be, but from right now, it looks like it's gonna be, you know, they're gonna be one of the top people in the sport.
All right, we appreciate the questions and appreciate Ivan and Regis. Thank you, guys. We look forward to seeing your match on April 17th. Excited about it.
All right. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right. Now, in a moment or two, in just a little bit, we're going to be talking with Jake Paul and Ben Askren for our main event. But first, we want to tell you about a couple of important promotional events connected with the April 17th card. First of all, if you are an essential worker and you're a singer, you can audition to perform the national anthem at the first Triller Fight Club card. Now, the winner will be selected by audition videos posted on TrillerFightClub.com using the anthem hashtag. TFC anthem is the hashtag. So you put the hashtag TFC anthem on it, submit your audition, and you could, in fact, be the person doing the national anthem at the April 17th event. That's available to all essential workers, and we thank all of you for your great work. Now, in addition, we should tell you about another important promotion. There's only one way to attend this event, and that can only be done with a golden ticket. They will be golden ticket winners that will be allowed to be at the event. How do you win a golden ticket? Well, you post a video on TrillerFightClub.com explaining exactly why you deserve to be there. The hashtag is TFC Pick Me. TFC Pick Me. And you also need to comment on 30 Triller videos over a 3-day period. And the winners will be flown with a guest to Atlanta, and all expenses paid, and it will be a terrific trip if you're one of the winners of the golden tickets. So we want you to do that. And for that information and everything involved in this promotion, you can go to TrillerFightClub.com and find out everything, including how you order this event. Up next, we are going to delve into our main event, the match between Jake Paul and Ben Askren. And needless to say, Jake has not been shy in talking about this fight on social media and elsewhere. And Ben Askren has done a great job on his own end in the verbal department. Let's hear from both of them.
What's next for Jake Paul? Knocking people out, man. And so the first step of this era is knocking out Ben Askren, putting on a violent show.
I think it's pretty obvious why Jake Paul picked me. Number one, large social media following and fairly popular. Number two, from what it appears to him, my striking is really poor. But I'm happy that he chose me to beat him up.
Literally everything's at stake. Half the people are tuning in because they love me, but half the people are tuning in because they want to see my career be ended.
I don't know why people actually think he's a good troll or a good trash talker. I think he's terrible.
He's been asking for a beating. He's been asking for a beating.
I think his intelligence level and his maturity level is that of roughly a middle schooler.
Ben Askren, get a little fucking shout. April 17th, gonna be a movie. We live on Triller going groovy. Yeah, you know me. Yeah, JP, I'm going crazy.
This Olympic decorated athlete, two-time NCAA Division I champion, one championships champion, 15-0, Bellator MMA champion, less losses than McGregor. But with all that said, I truly believe like I'm going to knock him out.
He's definitely not a fighter. He boxed two guys who are incredibly terrible at boxing and look like they've never been in a fight in their life.
That's why it's a perfect fight, because you're going to see the Disney Channel actor, the YouTube kid knock out a legitimate MMA fighter.
I'm a world-class athlete. I've been top 10 in the world in 4 different things: wrestling, jiu-jitsu, mixed martial arts, and disc golf. You really got to be like a certain type of guy to just wake up one day and just be like, yo, I'm trying to play some disc golf. He's not going to know what to do. When he gets tired, he's breathing hard, and I haven't fallen over yet. He's going to be coming in. I'm going to be boom. Literally lat dropping, bro. Going viral, bro. I stepped in the cage and fought like really high-level fighters for a decade, and they could punch me, they could kick me, they could knee me, they could elbow me, they could choke me. And now I'm fighting a YouTuber, and all he can do is punch me. Like, this is easy compared to that.
This isn't a gimmick. I won't lose. I can't lose.
Ben is going to Sleepy, just like Sleepy Nate, just like Sleepy Gibbs, and just like Sleepy Deji. Tune in. I love you guys.
Welcome to the show.
All righty. If Jake could just come out of his shell, we'd be okay. Fun setup for this match, and it puts it on the table. Jake Paul in his third boxing match, taking on former MMA champ Ben Askren. And can't wait to invite them out here on the stage. With no further ado, Jake and Ben, come on out. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Thank you, guys.
Hi, Ben.
How you doing?
Well, you guys have set the table for this pretty well with that video and with what you've been doing beforehand. And Jake, I'll start with you. You've kind of indicated that at the end of the day, your boxing skills you feel are better, and that ultimately that's the difference.
No, 100%. I mean, this guy's striking is that of a grandma. Quite literally, if I put a grandma in against Jorge Masvidal, she would have lasted longer than this guy. He's a good athlete, they say, but April 17th, he's going to get exposed. We saw Steve Cunningham earlier going up against Frank Mir, and it's a boxer versus an MMA guy. I love Frank Mir, but at the end of the day, Steve's gonna take care of business. Then later on in the night, same thing's gonna happen. This is boxing versus MMA, and you're going to see the difference. You're going to see the difference of a wannabe fighter, you know, a guy who choked in the Olympics, a guy who choked in the UFC, and now a guy who's going to choke against Jake Paul. I'm going to end this guy's career as an embarrassment. Masvidal did it once. I'm about to do it again.
All right. So all of that having been said, then you indicate that the difference is not about the skill; it's about the toughness.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd heard of Jake Paul prior to accepting this fight, but I couldn't have told you a lot about him or his brother. I knew, you know, he kind of came up in his brother's shadow. He was trying to fill his brother's footsteps. You know, his brother is a lot more talented, has a larger following. Those type of things.
You literally went on your Instagram and asked people for roast. You asked people for roast on your Instagram, and that was the top comment was say that his brother is better than him.
Is he?
That's like calling Kylie Jenner Kendall Jenner. Like,
I don't know anything about them.
Yeah,
Anyway, so
like, doesn't matter. Still a compliment.
Okay.
I would love to be Logan. Logan's a great kid. Both stars, both taking over the world at a young age.
Okay, so when Logan's little brother called me out, you know, I thought about it.
You actually called me out. Let's get the facts straight. You called me out the week of the Nate Robinson fight. So continue.
Yeah. Okay, so when Logan's little brother called me out the week of the Nate Robinson fight, I said, sure, more than happy to, right? I like to fight. I've been fighting for a long time. Never boxing, but I've done wrestling, mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu. And, you know, I thought, well, from his angle, what's he doing? And, you know, I asked some of my kids at my academy, what's this guy all about? And they said, he's a bully, he's a dick. And so I think from his angle, it's like, he's thinking, who's the easiest guy that I can pick that'll give some validity to my name? It's like, I'm going to pick the guy who just had a surgery, who's retired.
If I wanted to pick the easiest guy, I would have picked Dylan Dennis.
Well, we know
Dylan was too
Dennis
scared to sign the contract. You actually had the balls to sign the contract. So if I wanted the easiest guy, I would have picked Dylan.
Jake, you did pick Dylan. We know that. I've already went over that. You picked Dylan. I know he wouldn't do it.
But you just said I picked you.
Because Dylan wouldn't say yes, dum-dum.
You choking on your words, Bubba?
You picked
choking
Dylan.
on your words, Bubba?
You picked Dylan. Dylan wouldn't sign the contract. Therefore, you can't fight Dylan, so you had to pick the next person. Okay?
But
now,
you said I picked you first. You said if I wanted the easiest person, it would have been Dylan. But you're saying I picked you as the easiest person.
Because Dylan wouldn't sign a contract. Well, I'm trying to wait for you to stop talking. Okay. So, anyways, like this is typical bully behavior, but obviously sometimes
this is the
bully
fucking
picks
fight
the wrong
game.
person.
This is the fucking fight game. You pussy ass bitch. This is the fucking fight game. Yeah, I'll bully you around just like I'm gonna bully you in the ring. Shut the fuck up. You sound like a middle schooler. Oh, he's bullying me. Shut the fuck up.
Now, I was talking to your mentality. You're not gonna bully me. That's not gonna happen. And you know, like Jacob, you and I ran into each other in the back alley in Las Vegas, and I wanted
to do it right now. Then do it right now. Then we're running into each other right now.
Someone can stop you. Got like 27 people.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I would do a homicide on you if I wanted to.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you are. I guess that sets the table pretty well. Let's go to questions from the press on hand.
Right in your face. You didn't do shit.
Jake, I guess I would ask you to clarify. I mean, why did you pick Ben? No disrespect to Ben, but I think he's the last guy we ever thought would see.
I already laid it out to you.
Right?
No. Here's what actually happened is actually after my Nate Robinson fight, there was probably 70 people calling me out, wanting to fight me. And there was probably 6 people that it made sense to fight. Bisbing, McGregor, Diaz, Danis, Askren, some YouTubers who are popular. But I wanted to fight a real MMA fighter. When it came to signing the contract, a lot of them didn't want to do it. And by the way, this is me coming to them with the biggest payday of their lives. This is Ben's biggest payday of his life. He's publicly said that. And so when it came down to signing the contract, he was actually down. So that's how it happened. And this fight makes sense. This fight makes sense in a lot of ways. And there's a large majority of people who think he's going to win. And then there's the other half who know I'm going to win.
Ben, I guess I want to ask you, when this first got announced, it seemed like kind of a fun exhibition thing for you to stay busy after your MMA career. But where does it stand now? I mean, obviously some pretty personal words, and, you know, a lot of people are looking at you as kind of representative of the sport of MMA as well. So where does this stand? I mean, you've been an athlete all your life, competing at the highest level. Is this a serious competition to you, or is this a fun exhibition?
I mean, I'm going to take it serious, but the highest level of competition, no, not even close. Yeah, I'm gonna have fun with this. That's what I came for. Jake thinks he's a high-level boxer. I think he's fairly delusional. I guess we'll find out.
You will find out very quickly and in a violent fashion, and you will embarrass the sport of MMA. You are representing the UFC. This is personal. You know, the whole MMA community.
You're trying to make me represent the sport of
No,
MMA
you are
or
representing
UFC.
the sport. Dana White is betting money on you. You know, he's trying to get trainers to actually help you train so that you can beat me. So you are representing the sport of MMA. You are an MMA fighter. Just like I'm representing the sport of boxing because I'm a boxer. Just like I'm representing celebrities and YouTubers because I'm a celebrity and a YouTuber. So I'm representing all of those things. So you are representing them, and you will see boxing conquer.
All right, let's go out for another question.
Hey, Jake, it's the Schmo. Good to see you. Quick question for you. If you get through Ben Askren, do you think that's the key to getting the attention of Dana White and maybe getting a Conor McGregor fight? Or who would be next on your list if you get through Ben Askren?
Schmo, my guy, good to see you. You know, I don't have to do anything to get the attention of these guys. You know, they have to get the attention of me at this point. And, you know, they're talking about me more than I'm talking about them. So, you know, he's one of the first fighters on the list. Yeah, he's the first MMA fighter that will be taken down. I think this will make the Jake Paul versus Conor McGregor fight that will happen one day more intriguing, of course. But you know, there's Diaz after this. You know, there's tons of people calling me out, celebrities, still athletes. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, this fight will give me a lot of credibility. You know, Ben's 19-2, has less losses than McGregor. 2-time NCAA Division I champ, Olympic wrestler. So yeah, he's a real fighter, and that's why I wanted to do this fight, is to show the world like, yo, this real fighter is getting in with Jake Paul and he's gonna get KO'd in 2 rounds.
Now for you, Ben, on the other side of the coin, if you get through Jake Paul, what's next in your boxing career? Do you go for the big brother Logan Paul?
Yeah, I mean, 2021 seems like a tremendous year to beat up the whole Paul family.
All right.
Good seeing you, Schmo.
Let's go to another question from the press.
That was your first good joke at the press conference. I know you're really excited about that one. Do you smoke cigarettes or are your teeth just yellow?
I'll write your material if you want me to.
English, please.
If you want me to write your jokes, I can do them for you.
If I want you to read my jokes, this guy's talking about my intelligence. Okay. God damn it. Embarrassing.
Mystic Zach here with the question for Jake Paul. Your last fight, you stole the show with a second-round knockout over Nate Robinson. What kind of improvements can fans expect to see in your game going into this fight?
Zach, I pick wins, young legend right there. You know, lots of improvements. I'm a completely different fighter. The fighter that I am now would knock out the fighter in the Nate Robinson fight. That is Jake Paul. So I'm completely different. And people will see I really haven't even gotten to show my boxing ability in my last 2 fights because they've both been like 4 minutes total or like 7 minutes total. So, you know, I'm actually excited to see if Ben's going to give me a little bit of a test, a little bit of a challenge, because then people will see, oh, shit, this kid can do that. Oh, he has this in his arsenal. Oh, he's been working on that. I haven't even shown the world what I could do. That's why this is fun, because I have the ace up my sleeve. And when you have the ace up your sleeve in life,
hey, I was wondering, your cheerleaders that you brought to my room, like, do you pay them as coaches or groupies, or do you just give them like sloppy seconds and social media shout outs?
Yeah, I give them a ton of dry over the pants hand jobs. Maybe say your joke again and we can all remember to laugh. Say it one more time. We can just all laugh afterwards, just so you feel good about yourself. Say it one more time for us. No?
You have another question?
Yeah.
Look at the cock on this guy.
Jake, you spoke about the improvements you make every single fight. What can you attribute those improvements to? Is it your work ethic, your training team? What can you attribute that to?
Man, all of the above. We're working so hard, and really just a true passion for the sport. I love what I'm doing, and I have such a chip on my shoulder. The whole world wants to see Jake Paul lose this fight, and that I love that. I love that so much. And yes, we have the best team. BJ Flores, Jacob Chavez, you know, D-Cut on the strength and conditioning, Carl, J. Leon Love, John Marinick, Marcos, like all of these guys. I'm probably forgetting names. Even down to Shadow, Lucas Mack, all of these guys, Ebach. We have the best team, Blue, Gus, Content, on down. Best managers, best advisors, best lawyers, best trainers, best photographers. that's why I'm at where I'm at as a 24-year-old, is because I'm surrounded by greatness. And look, we all have a lot to prove to the world, and I'm 24 years old. This is the biggest stage of my life. You know, the last event was the 8th biggest pay-per-view event in history. This one's going to be even bigger. Justin Bieber, Snoop Dogg, Doja Cat. Are you kidding me? And you think for one moment I'm going to sit there and fumble this? You think for one moment I'm not going to work my bloody balls off to beat this bum, this Walmart-looking head-ass Napoleon Dynamite motherfucker? No. You got to be kidding me. So, yeah, I'm excited for this, and I have a chip on my shoulder, and I'm going to prove to the world April 17th. TrillerFightClub.com. Buy it now. But I'm going to prove to the world that Jake Paul's the real deal. And that's why I called out Conor McGregor initially. This is the road to McGregor at the end of the day.
All right, we're gonna go out to virtual questions, and let's go to that right now.
From USA Today, we have Josh Peter.
For Jake, you referred to Dana's $1 million bet. I just wonder how you felt about that. Where were you when you heard about it, and have you had a chance to talk to him?
I think it's great. Dana White doesn't talk about really anything besides the UFC, so it just goes to show how big of an event this is. And again, he is one of the many bird brain people out there who don't understand that Jake Paul is a real fighter. And, you know, he's going to lose $1 million. And I challenged him along with Snoop Dogg to step it up and make it $2 million. Put your money where your mouth is. $1 million isn't that much to Dana White. I'm so confident in my abilities, and you know, it's free promo. So thank you, Dana.
What's next virtually?
Next up is fan-sided Jeremy Haregis.
Question for Jake. Jake, considering Ben's combat sports background, are you expecting a quantum leap in the level of competition that you've faced thus far?
No. I think he'll be easier to beat than Nate Robinson.
Question to Ben.
Go ahead.
I think we lost him.
Was there a question for Ben there?
Yes, Ben, question for you. Based on what you've seen of Jake in the ring so far, have you seen an amount of talent there that you consider him talented as a boxer?
Yeah, it's hard to say. His opponents were so bad that he could have pretty much done anything he wanted to and won the fight. So yeah, I think TBD.
Next up is Bad Left Hook, Michael Woods.
Guys, question first for Jake. Jake, I was impressed with especially your power against Nate Robinson. It strikes me that maybe you were a guy who was born with it. I saw you backing up and cracking the guy. Now, I don't know how that's going to work on Askren, who is a seasoned fight professional, but it led me to be thinking, how into this are you? Or do you have sort of a long-term plan? All right, I'm going to do this a year, 2 year, 5 years. Are you now a boxing lifer? What's the end game? How long do you want to do this, and where do you want to get to in boxing?
Yeah, great question. Definitely a boxing lifer. I'm addicted to this sport, and I will become the biggest prize fighter in boxing. Simple as that. And yeah, thank you for the compliment. Have a ton of power. I didn't really even get to utilize it against Nate. He went down, and I only landed 8 punches, and he was knocked down 3 times, if that gives you any indication. And man, when I put those 10-ounce gloves on, those Grant gloves, shout out to Grant, best gloves in the game. Whew, I love to crack, baby. And you know what's crazy? I love to get hit too. So like, you know, I just love fighting in general. And again, this is the start of a burgeoning career, a burgeoning, amazing career. And I'm addicted to the sport. I love the sport. I want to bring more eyeballs to it. I love everything to do with it. You know, I could see myself coaching my son one day.
Someone's gonna let you have kids?
That was good. You got like two laughs. 2 laughs.
Thank you.
Next up is Cage Side
your
Press,
dad.
Gabriel Gonzalez.
Look at.
I've got 2 questions. First one is for Jake. Jake, celebrity boxing isn't anything new, but it's certainly enjoying a moment. What do you think it is about yourself that's made it successful?
It's your dad calling in. Look,
That dude's still alive?
he's still alive, bro. I'm about to take him out.
Flip-flop, man.
Hey, he's still alive. Don't worry, I'm gonna finish him off. Yeah, don't worry.
Tell him I like them flip-flops, man.
He said he likes your flip-flops. That's my guy Masvidal, maker of Ben Askren. Jake Paul will be the finisher of Ben Askren. Does that bother you, by the way, that you got knocked out in 5 seconds?
Nah,
It
happens.
doesn't bother you?
Not really.
It doesn't really happen, by the way. That's only happened once.
I got a record.
You literally have the record.
I
Yeah.
literally have the record.
You
yeah.
hold the record.
the record.
Yeah. 5 seconds.
Yes.
It doesn't like haunt you at all that like you're
Does not
probably the
bother
most
me, Jake.
embarrassing fighter in UFC history.
Jake, I know you have low self-esteem, but you don't need to project it onto me.
This clip doesn't bother you?
I've only seen it like a million times. Doesn't bother me.
Doesn't bother you?
No.
Are you sure?
Sure.
Maybe the same thing to you.
Yeah. I don't think you're allowed to throw knees in boxing, Jake.
Well, I'm gonna knock you out. Same thing.
Okay. Good luck.
Okay, once again, Gabriel Gonzalez.
Hi,
All
my
right,
first
let's get,
question is for Jake. Jake, celebrity boxing isn't anything new, but it's certainly enjoying a moment. What do you think it is about yourself that you've had so much success? Because let's be honest, not everybody brings in as much attention when they try to do this.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused when people talk about celebrity boxing because there's no such thing as celebrity boxing. I'm the only celebrity that's boxing. So people like to write articles about it, but like I'm the only one that's doing it. So doesn't really make sense to me. But really, at the end of the day, this isn't celebrity boxing. I am a celebrity who is boxing, yes, but I'm a real fighter. I've shown that. I'm 3-0, 3 KOs, 2-0 as a professional with 2 KOs. But I'm the only celebrity or influencer that's fought in like the past 2 years. So I'm really the only one doing it. So
My next question is for Ben.
Logan doesn't count or what?
he hasn't fought in 2 years if you paid attention
so you
closely to what I
excluded
was
him.
saying. And look, Logan's great. He's a celebrity who's boxing, but at the end of the day, again, Logan is a real fighter who would whoop on a lot of guys.
Who's better, you or him at boxing?
Me, hands down. That's why I'm 3-0, 3 KOs. He's 0-1-1.
Yeah. He ever whoop your ass when you're the little brother? That was a question, Jake. You're supposed to.
I just don't care about your questions.
Okay. So I'll take that as he rubbed your face in the carpet on a weekly basis.
Yeah, sure, Ben.
All right, on that note, we'll go for another virtual question.
Yeah, my final question was just for Ben. Ben, you've been in big fights before, UFC pay-per-views, won championships. How has the reception been for you for this fight? Because I'm assuming you're getting messages from a whole other fan base. What has that been like?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I said earlier, I knew of Jake and Logan when I took the fight, but I didn't know like a whole lot about Logan or his little brother. And one of the things that I can't believe is in MMA, I was kind of the heel. I was kind of not liked that much. But Jake said in the pre-fight thing that it was 50 people wanted to win, 50 people wanted to lose, and I was shocked because it's got to be like 9 to 10. Pretty amazing how many people don't like you. I actually kind of find it pretty impressive, your ability to be disliked. That was a compliment.
All righty. Another virtual question on tap.
From the Courtside Sound Off podcast, I have Angel Ortega.
Yes, I have one question for Jake, and I want to ask Jake. You started with Deji, and now you're with Ben, and you also had Nate. I want to ask you, are you at this point bigger than the JJ fight? Is there any interest in still fighting KSI, or have you outgrown him and you're just over that?
Yeah, definitely outgrown him. There's interest. I think that's a fight that everyone wants to see, but at this point, it just wouldn't even be close. And I think, once he sees what I do to Ben, yeah, he's not gonna want to fight. And yeah, like even his coaches say it. They're like, hey, we're not letting KSI fight this kid right now. So his coaches know. His coaches know what will happen. KSI's ducking. And at the end of the day, it's like there's a lot bigger fights out there than JJ. So.
All right, next.
And next we have from MMA Island, Donna Corby.
Hey guys, this question is for Jake, and I guess it applies a bit to Ben as well. Jake, when you look at your 3 fights, you were very fortunate when you fought Deji and when you fought Nate that the main event guys were willing to carry the slack with you, because your opponents really weren't in terms of the promotion of the fight. They were very quiet. They weren't, Deji doesn't really have much of a mainstream appeal. Nate obviously opted to just be quiet and try to portray himself as an athlete. We'll give Gib the credit. He really did push that fight. Do you appreciate that Ben is willing to do the work to promote the fight, unlike maybe probably any of your opponents before? And Ben, are you enjoying that aspect of it?
I do actually appreciate it. And I part of me likes Ben. A part of me, thinks he's funny. I'll give him that. And even his wife, like I was seeing her post stuff on Instagram, like she's funny. So I give him credit. And yeah, I think this fight has the most amount of hype going into it. He actually is putting out content and making some noise and talking some shit. So yeah, I do give credit to Ben there, and that's part of the reason we picked him is we knew there was going to be shit talk going into it.
One of the things I appreciated about him earlier, I said it, is that and his brother too. Like they have somehow convinced their fans that they're real fighters. It's tremendous. It's it takes an act, it takes a show. He's done that. He says pulling the fire truck, me and rice and chicken and shit like that. Like I'm in this for life. That's tremendous. Appreciate that, Jake.
Suck a dick.
One more. We have one more virtual question, and that's going to wrap things up for us. So go ahead.
From Full Reptile YouTube, James Mystery.
Hey guys, I got a question for each athlete. Jake, what do you have to say to all the professional fighters out there that don't like your quick success in combat sports without any substantial previous experience?
Haters will be haters. When there's a new young buck in the game coming up in ruffling feathers, they're going to be upset. But again, I'm just trying to bring more eyeballs to the sport, and I'm having fun doing it. And I'm just doing me. There's room for everyone to eat. Gary Vee once said, you can build your skyscraper in New York as high as you want without tumbling over someone else's skyscraper. So why are people mad that I'm successful? Build up your own skyscraper, and there's room for everyone to eat in this sport. Trust me.
Fair enough. Ben, I saw on your Instagram the little scuffle between you and Jake before the press conference. I was wondering if you can fill me in on that. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how intimidated were you when Jake came in and flicked that tissue over your shoulder?
I think it was a mask, not a tissue, but yeah, I would say like a 1 to 1.1, somewhere in there. Again, if Jake and I met in an alley, I would just do a homicide if I wanted to. No big deal. I was most impressed by the fact that Jake, as a 24-year-old, is able to convince a whole team of grown men to do a cheer with him. That was tremendous.
It's called a team, a family, something that you don't have. Seems like you don't have really friends, and we're all in this together, and this means a lot to us. This means a lot to everyone. This is a part of history. That everyone on my team is a part of history, and we're a brotherhood. And quite literally, a bunch of 20-year-olds taking over the world. You sound stupid.
Yeah, I hope you do some more cheers on the way there.
Well, we know it's going to be serious on April 17th.
Go Bayside.
We appreciate both of you being here.
2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Ben. God damn.
There you go. Thank you both for being here. We're looking forward to April 17th. Should be a lot of fun.
Thank you, Al.
All right, you take care. Ben, Jake, we'll see you guys on April 17th. How many days? 22. Now, 22. 22 till I end this motherfucker's career. As they exit the stage earlier in this press conference, we had a bit of news making by Oscar de la Hoya. Let's take a look back at it right now.
You got great fighters. I've been watching you walk in the ring with your fighters. Your boy Ortiz had a great fight the other night.
Last fight, Virgil Ortiz.
That was an amazing fight. But I feel like it's something missing, man. I keep seeing you in the ring, but I don't see you in the ring. I mean, Talk to me.
Why don't you? I mean, you're part owner of a Triller Fight Club. Why don't you tell me?
I think you should tell him, man. It's you, not me.
Okay. July 3rd, I'm making my comeback.
Ooh. Oh,
So that was and we will see Oscar De La Hoya back in the ring, apparently pretty soon. Well, I know one thing. On April 17th, we're going to see an exciting event of both entertainment and boxing, and we are going to be looking forward to it. A reminder to you that to find out anything you need to know about this event, go to trillerfightclub.com. It's going to provide you with information, video, and the way you can order this fight as well. And we also want to acknowledge our partners, In Demand, telco providers, and Fight, the platform that will be handling the worldwide live streaming. So thanks to everybody that participated today. Thank you to you for watching, and we will see you on April 17th.
YouTuber Jake Paul fighting three-time NBA slam dunk champion Nate Robinson.
If you told my 10-year-old self I'd be fighting on a Mike Tyson card, I'd be like, no way. I'm going to take his head off.
Really?
Have to.
I'm definitely